to miss a second World Championship medals. What was it, 200ths of a second?
I think it was
100th of a second. Is even more painful. You can swear in this bit if you want to swear.
Okay.
In this bit.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurts a lot. I feel confident that it's not the end. It's just a place to keep building from. It's a great time to take advantage of someone who should be winning the races that's not there. It's, it opens up an opportunity.
Are we going to see Paula Moltzan win this season?
USA go for gold again!
Our guest today is a stunt woman on skis. Her saves leave everyone breathless.
With the run of her life.
From a Minnesota childhood spent skiing at Buck Hill to standing on World Championship and World Cup podiums. This is Paula Moltzan. It is so good to have you here. I think where I would love to start with, because it's something that we've been hearing a lot of recently for some tough reasons and for some good reasons, is where it all began. Minnesota, Buck Hill, definitely not the Alps, but it's created some incredible races. What was growing up there like, and what do you think Buck Hill gave you and others that shaped the skier you are today?
Oh man. Yeah. Growing up at Buck Hill is definitely not the Alps. There's 300 vertical feet, so I think that's like 100 vertical meters, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like nothing when it comes to ski racing, but it also has a group of passionate people that has just like a deep love for skiing. We're not going skiing because there's big lines to ski or big powder to ski. We're just skiing because we want to ski gates, and that's kind of what my whole childhood was. Both my parents were ski instructors there. My two older siblings and I grew up skiing. It was kind of like weekend daycare for us. And then I transitioned into the Buck Hill ski racing program that has produced some legends. And I'm happy to be on that list of people. And yeah, we definitely have had some big losses.
We've got to go straight into Eric. Tell us a little bit about this legend. We sadly lost him. I can't believe that he was 99 years of age. Still jokes me up. I've met him a couple of times. Tell us about what was so special about Eric, how he shaped your career, how he shaped so many skiers' careers.
I think the best word to describe Eric is like ruthfully honest. I think in his older age, he maybe got a little softer, but in my upbringing and career, I felt like he always gave it to me honestly. If he thought I was skiing poorly, he would tell you straight to your face. And like when you're a young developing athlete, there's not a lot of coaches that do that, right? They're kind of like trying to butter you up, keep you in the sport. And Eric's passion for the sport and like passion for perfection is like what shaped me to be the skier I am today. And without him, there is no me.
Yeah, it's an amazing. What was he like off the slope as well as on the slope? Was he always? I get the feeling he's this kind of magical, charismatic, but no bullshit, rough, tough kind of coach. But on the mountain, we get it. It is down the line. But what was he like off the mountain personally?
I feel like he was really inspiring. He always shared stories and talked to you as an equal. Even if you're 10, 11, 12 years old, he didn't treat you like a child. I think that was the coolest thing, is that in his eyes, everyone was equal. It didn't matter how old or how talented you were. And he like made that known. And I think that's something that always stuck with me, especially in my development years, going through his ski program and all of his ski camps. Like if you were good and you were 12, you were skiing with the good 18-year-olds. It didn't matter like age in that world. It just purely mattered on skill. And he treated everyone the same.
Yeah, Eric Seiler, rest in peace. A wonderful gentleman. As you said earlier, skiing has always been part of the family. Your parents, uncles, cousins. Was it always clear for you this was your path? Or did you ever imagine something different in your sporting life?
I don't know if it was super clear. I played a lot of sports growing up like everybody. I was really into soccer, really into gymnastics. I loved skiing. It was a great pastime. It was like what we did for all of our family holidays. I really thought I was going to be a soccer player for the longest time ever. But then like skiing just clicked, and from a young age I had like a lot of victories and success, and so it just kind of like spiraled down this pathway. I don't think my parents had any idea of what we were signing up for when I was like 12 or 13, but then yeah, it just kept compounding into this bigger and bigger part of my life.
Now, you mentioned gymnastics there. Is that part of the reason why? I mean, I know the podiums are starting to come nice and consistently, world championship medals in your pocket, but you're quite possibly most famous for some of the saves that you've done out there on a World Cup piece. Do you think some of that's born from those gymnastic skills that you developed as a child?
Yeah, definitely. I think gymnastics is maybe one of the greatest sports you can put your kids in when they're young. I think you just learn a lot of self-awareness and coordination, and I think that allows me to like, yeah, be aware of what's happening even when everything's like imploding all at once. I can like find my like center of gravity and try not to fall as hard as I should be.
You've taken a unique route, and this is something that I want a lot of our European listeners and viewers to get a slightly sort of clearer understanding. From the World Cup to college racing, then back again. That's not an easy decision, especially for someone chasing international. Because when you went to college, the Women's World Cup started getting ramped up from a technical and a competitive sort of perspective. What made you take that step? What did that chapter at the University of Vermont give you as Vermont as an athlete, but also as a person? And is it something that you'd recommend to other skiers?
I would say it's an untraveled route. Not many people go from US ski team to World Cup and then college racing and then back to the US ski team and World Cup. It's like not super common. And so I don't know if I can completely recommend it, but I'm grateful for every opportunity and experience it gave me in my life. In like 2016, I was basically told I wasn't coming back. I wasn't being renamed to the US ski team. And so there wasn't a lot of options. I didn't have like the financial aspect to be paying on a private team. And they were a lot less common on the women's side back then. I feel like there is like so many private teams now across ski racing. They didn't quite have that developed when I was trying to make a decision of what my next step was. And so, not to say it was my only option, but it kind of was. And so I chose to go to college and keep competing just to see what was happening. I don't know if in that point I thought I would come back to World Cup, but I wasn't ready to be done being a ski racer. And so I got lucky that I went to the University of Vermont. I had a great staff, great coaches, Bill Reichelt, Timmy Kelly, who was also an World Cup ski racer. And then we train at Stowe Mountain, which is like maybe one of the better venues to be skiing out of in the East Coast. And all those like attributes kind of culminated and allowed me and set me up for success to return to the World Cup via time trial for Killington World Cup.
It's an amazing story, really. I mean, most people that go to university or college, as you'd say in the USA, they get drunk every night, study a little bit every day, walk away with a degree, go and get a job. But the level of competition must have been pretty high on the NCAA, the Collegiate Racing Tour, to keep your skills, to keep the times against the clock just off the pace of the World Cup Tour. Is it still like that today? Is the Collegiate Tour as good as they say?
I think there's always ebbs and flows inside of college ski racing, depending on who's competing in the East or in the West. The two circuits don't really overlap in the season, just kind of at the NCAAs. At my tenure at UVM, I had Laurent Saint-Germain, who is now a Canadian World Cup skier with a world champion as well. We were on the team together. And so I was lucky to have the direct person who was still skiing World Cup skiing with me in college.
Yeah.
So I definitely think she added to the success and being able to stay fast and stay relevant in World Cup and know where I stood. But I also still competed in the NORAM circuit and had a handful of really good races that kept my points super low that allowed me to still find success when given the opportunity to ski World Cup again.
And how did you balance all of that with your studies? Because you came out of the University of Vermont with also the education that you were hoping to achieve, as well as your ski skills staying sharp.
Yeah, I actually haven't finished my degree.
Oh, okay. Now we know.
Hold up. I have a lot of teammates that have their degrees, so I want to make sure it's true facts are out there. I'm 3/4 of the way done. I have 1 year left, but I was studying biology with a minor in chemistry with hopes to go to medical school. And that's still maybe a long-term goal of mine, but yeah, there was a lot of balance. I mean, there was a lot less free hours than I have now. You have to, study, go to class, be at gym workouts, be on hill. And I think it just taught me a lot about time management inefficiency.
I can hear a lot of mums and dads with young skiers listening very carefully to what you're saying right now. What advice would you give the youngsters who are not sure, should I go to college? Should I stick it out and try and make the cut to win Europa Cup, win NORAM, win World Cup? Or should every individual take it on their own passion, their own heart? Because, of course, your mum and dad want you to take care of your college degree because it's a tough sport. It's a dangerous sport. What would your advice be to the young guns out there?
I think you said it right, though. I think it's a very individual thing. And I also think there's a huge difference between like male and female development. So I don't think there's a right answer for every individual person. I think that's the cool thing about ski racing. And across Europe and the US, there's a lot of different pathways in which we all get here. I don't think every World Cup winner on tour has a Europa Cup win. I don't think that's true. And so I don't think that like the direct pathway has to be a certain way. I think if you're going to choose to go to college, you have to know that you have to be working harder than everybody else. It's not just kind of a like ride the wave and make it through. If you want to come out of college being able to ski World Cup, you better be working like 15 times as hard as every single one of those collegiate athletes.
It's a brilliant story, and it still captures my imagination to this very day. In your wildest dreams, when you were coming back from the collegiate tour, did you ever imagine you'd be on the podium of the World Cup tour, take it another level, take a world championship bronze medal in giant slalom? Or was it just, I think I've got to finish off some unfinished business here?
Yeah, I don't think that was in my cards, but I'm happy it is. I am feeling lucky to have had a second opportunity in my World Cup career. Not many people are given that. And so that I do have World Cup podiums and a world championship medal in an individual event is pretty awesome, but it definitely wasn't in my cards that I played out for myself.
Well, the story is there. It's a brilliant story. I love to tell it in every one of my live TV shows that I'm commentating. Here's a lady that went to university and came back to the World Cup tour. And we love it. Let's talk a little bit about some World Cup tour facts and figures, because this story is far from over. If you ask any journalist, broadcaster, or opinion leader, your career is doing this. It's not plateauing or maybe dropping off. This season, especially. I mean, we know you debuted back in 2012. Podiums came in parallel slalom, then the breakthrough in classic slalom. But this season, to score podiums in slalom and giant slalom, world championship medals, and then to miss a second world championship medals, what was it, 200ths of a second?
I think it was
100th of a second is even more painful. You can swear in this bit if you want to swear.
Okay, yeah, it hurts a lot.
It hurts a lot. But the point I'm getting to here is last season, it all came together. You entertained us. You had some spectacular recoveries. You had some spectacular results. Looking back at last season, was that everything that you wanted heading into an Olympic season? And is there more to come?
Yeah, I think it was a great base to build. I think I gave myself some confidence. I hadn't found the podium in GS, and so I think to find it just before World Championships was kind of just a great building point for me, and I'm feeling more confident in my GS. I didn't really start my GS career like maybe as long ago as most people on the World Cup Tour, but I feel confident that it's not the end. It's just a place to keep building from.
Yeah. And then what impressed me the most is the way you kept your cool at the World Championships. And let's talk about Saalbach Interglemm 2025. Giant slalom, bronze medal. How did you feel your skiing went that day? Are you satisfied with that bronze, or you feel you should have come away with the gold?
I don't think I deserved the gold in that race. I think Fede, hands down, is the best giant slalom skier in the world right now. I have no questions about it in my brain. I think she is clearly and obviously on a whole nother level, and unfortunately she's injured right now, which is like I think heartbreaking for the world of GS, but it'll be interesting to see how the very start of the season begins to play out without her. I think she's a huge player, and obviously for me personally extremely missed, but I think it's a great time to take advantage of someone who should be winning the races that's not there. It's, it opens up an opportunity.
Yeah, those are good words, very kind. We she's been on Alpine Pulse already, Federica.
I love her.
And yeah, I do as well. You and me both, as an athlete, we were all in tears. It was a tough one. It was really tough. Let's talk about that slalom race. Cami Rast took the gold, Holdener the silver. Liensberger pipped you by the narrowest of margins that we measure ski racing in. Were you satisfied with your performance, or let's be brutal here, absolutely pissed off that you didn't take a medal?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't pissed. I was bummed, but I think in life there's scales and they always balance out. And so in the GS, I got Taya by 100th and she got 4th by 100th. And so that it kind of came around the next race is heartbreaking and upsetting because it's such a small measure of time. But at the same time, it's like my last race in slalom at Hinterglemm was at finals the year before and I DNF'd. So I feel like you got to take small victories where they're due, and it was still my best slalom result of the season to that point. So I think as athletes, we're hypercritical of ourselves and love to make, like, say it was so bad, but at the end of the day, you have to give yourself a little bit of grace and like realize the result that it was and not play the ifs and cans and buts game, because you can't go backwards.
Yeah, that's good words. Very sensible. What impressed me the most, last question on the 2025 season, is that you leave your heart and soul on the mountain every time you race. No question. So many people love to watch you go for it. We say in English, hell for leather is the way we pronounce it. I saw a thread of consistency this season in giant slalom and slalom, that all of a sudden you're not, oh, if Paula has a good race, she can do some damage, but there's not going to be many. All of a sudden, look at all the top tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in slalom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in giant slalom. All of a sudden, Paula Moltzan is a player, and a consistent player. Is that a fair point to make? Do you see that as your big breakthrough going into the Winter Olympics in 2026?
Yeah, I think that has been a goal for a long time. I think finding consistency is more difficult than one would ever expect in World Cup. There are so many talented athletes, and any given day, someone could be winning. And so to be in that top 10 almost every single race, minus a handful of DNFs and one-off experiences, I think that for me, that is a place where I am very happy to be building from in this year.
Are you fit, strong, ready, and learned a lot from 25 to make 26 even bigger, better, more medals, more results? And of course, I've got to say it because it's what people want to hear. Are we going to see Paula Moltzan win this season?
I sure hope so.
That's too polite.
I don't like to base the season's results or base a season's like whole off of the results. I think there's moments of growth and there's moments of success and moments of failure, and you have to keep building off that. You can't move backwards. So if we're moving forwards, that's kind of the only direction there is, right? Yeah. There should be a win on the horizon. And yes, I would say I'm fit. I had shoulder surgery in April and spent the entire summer just working out. I didn't really do too many like crazy fun things, just a lot of time in the gym. And yeah, and here we are.
Shoulder feels good?
Really good.
Then I'll have a bet with you right now. 4 races into the season, either slalom or giant slalom, you'll have won one.
All right.
I really do believe that.
I like it.
And then when you start winning on the World Cup, Olympic dreams become reality.
I agree.
I really do. Okay, here we go, Paula. Icy slope. We've got a little surprise for you. A message from someone who knows you very well, shared plenty of race with you, and they're going to ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, man. Oh, is it Alice?
Hit play.
Hello, Paula. I have some questions for you. My first question is, seeing you come to New Zealand all the time for summer training, where is your favourite spot in New Zealand? Number 2, what is the best and the worst thing about having your husband on tour with you as your serviceman? And lastly, what do you think you would be doing if you weren't a professional ski racer? Okay, bye.
Okay, Alice. I think the best place in New Zealand is Ohau. I think it's this magical little slope. It's only got like one surface lift. It's like a 2-seater chairlift. It is so slow, but the training is like the best World Cup training you can find early season. And yeah, I love going to New Zealand. I get to see Alice it's pretty fun. And yeah, there's a lot of fun things to do there.
And how do we get to Ohau if we are heading over there? How do we ski there? Can we ski there?
Yeah, totally. It's a very tiny little mountain. It takes it's the scariest drive you'll ever have in your whole life. And yeah, it's a public slope. It's no problem. I wouldn't go there while we are there because like half of the mountain is closed down.
Yeah.
But yeah, you fly into Queenstown. It's probably like a 2-ish hour drive, and yeah, you're there.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Alpine Pulse Unplugged. Ohau is the place to go if you're skiing in New Zealand. Let's answer that husband question.
The best and worst part about traveling with my husband as my ski technician. The best part, well, is that we can spend every day of every year together, which is a lot of time. So maybe that's the good and the bad. But he also like cooks for me, cleans for me, does my laundry. He's like kind of a man of many hats. And he makes my life a lot easier on the road. So that's the best part. The worst part is that we have to balance being married and him working for me. I think he's more critical of me than he sometimes lets on. And so I have to remind him that I'm also his wife, not just his athlete. When he's like, you're really not doing this today. And I'm like, well, maybe mentally I'm just not here as a person. We've obviously learned to navigate that through many years of working together, but there's still plenty of times where there's a hiccup.
And I can hear many of our female listeners with your first answer. The good bits about Ryan is, where do you find a husband like that? Where did you and Ryan meet each other?
We met at ski camp in Valley, Nevada while he was still competing.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, by the way. He's a very nice gentleman.
I'm lucky to have him.
And the third question.
Yeah. If I wasn't a ski racer in this day and age, I think I would probably be in either finishing medical school, in practicing as a doctor of some sort. That was always kind of not my plan B. It was more of my plan A, honestly, to become a doctor than to be a professional ski racer. So I think that's where I would be, practicing medicine somewhere along the line.
They're lovely words from Alice. You've built such strong friendships on the World Cup circuit. You can see that when the inspection is going on, when you're actually supposed to be in the zone, and it's like you're having a little chat and a little catch up, and it's a wonderful atmosphere. How do you keep that positive energy alive? And what does team spirit mean to you?
Yeah, I think the best thing about our sport is the friendships you make. I don't think the results are awesome and all of that, but I think having a friend from almost every country in Europe and plus some is pretty magical. I think that those are experiences and relationships that I wouldn't trade for the world. How do I keep my focus in all of that? I don't know. I just don't. I don't really hyperfixate on many things. I think being happy and loving what you do is all you need to be successful, is to focus sometimes, and mostly just be happy and love what you do.
Thank you very much, Alice Robinson. What a fantastic icy slope, and I love the fact that you're all buddies. It's makes for a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. Let's move on to part 2 of our conversation here. You're known for being one of the most grounded athletes on the tour, genuine, hardworking, and calm under pressure. But let's be honest here. Are you ever nervous? And what are the moments that have made you most nervous in your career?
Who said I was grounded? Who are these words of wisdom coming from? You? Yay! I think things that keep me grounded, I don't know. I do get nervous. Maybe I'm not nervous while I'm actually skiing, but like there's like more media, there's press, there's headshots, there's all these things that you have to do around it that just like builds this like anxious tension in your stomach. And maybe just like the feeling of like getting back into it makes me nervous, because you're like, this is like the pinnacle moment of a career, of a day, of the week. It's a little scary. But at the end of it, I do not think the results are what define me. And so I don't get nervous about the actual skiing.
You can see it in the start gate, to be honest. So a lot of people distracted. A lot of people have to go through these routines to hold that focus. And you look like, you could be almost like a professional boxer. You look ready to rumble. There is this glare in your eyes. There is this pre-race prep that you clearly go through that has you looking really tough. Like bring it on. You don't look nervous at all in any competitions.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I think to go back to my husband, I think just like having someone you trust more than anything in the world standing right next to you.
Yeah.
And he does that every single day. There's not any change. So it just all feels the same. Like if you can keep training days and race days feeling exactly the same, that's how I kind of beat the nerves or beat the emotions of it. And I think when I am feeling nervous, Ryan grounds me. But the problem is sometimes he's more nervous than I am, then that makes me nervous.
Okay. I was just about to say the Paula and Ryan show is a very cool double act, but yeah, you can affect each other, I suppose. Tell us a little bit about life on the US team. Quite unique. You spend months in Europe, far from home. How does that really work? How many bags do you travel with? Do you have a base, or is it hotel after hotel? And what about your family? Do they get to see much of you in the season as well?
All very good questions. Okay, how many bags do you travel with? Averagely, I flew over here with 4 bags, but I would say like non-ski related equipment, most of us on the US ski team, on my team, we all have 2 like full-size duffel bags with shoes and clothes, plus a ski backpack, plus a boot cube, and then whatever other ski equipment might be around. And we don't really have a base, but we sort of have a base. Maddie Hoffman, her family runs a hotel in Manguelfo, and we spend like 3 to 4 weeks there in and out. So it's not like a full base, but there is a time in the season in which we have like a mini base, but we do spend a lot of time in a lot of hotel rooms. I like to call my van my home. We're constantly packing and unpacking it. And my family, I'm really lucky. Both my parents are retired and they love to watch ski racing and they love to ski. So in the winter, from like usually like the end of December, maybe the very beginning of January, like through February, 6-ish weeks, they're in Europe and they'll pop by to watch me ski race, but then they'll be going to like St. Anton or Courchevel and like living their best life, but also like coming to support me. And I think that balances my life and that I get to see some of my family. Obviously, my siblings and nieces and nephews are at home and I miss them a lot, but thank God for FaceTime.
Good answer. Let's go back to Ryan again, because it is quite unique. You were married in 2022. As you said, he's a tech. Some say a brilliant master ski tech. And the two of you traveled the world together. How was he accepted within the team? Because as many ski racers listening in, many young athletes, that kind of relationship thing can often be a sticky subject for coaches, and particularly for the people who race directors or CEOs of United States Ski and Snow. But it can be tricky. How did you work around that one? And I think you've touched on it before, but tell us again, because I love the story.
Yeah.
How special is it to work side by side?
Yeah, it's really incredible. I don't think my ski career would be the same without him. I think, as you said, he is a incredibly talented technician. He's got a great feel for the skis, and I think that our communication about skis and ski racing is kind of perfected. I mean, we tell each other everything, and there's no holding back if it's nice or mean. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. The way we started out is I was not on the US ski team, and so I was like an independent athlete, and he was traveling as the coach tech, as there are plenty of independent athletes out there to do. And then moving forward, I was named to the US ski team, and that's when the battle kind of started. I think, as you said, it's not the easiest thing for a CEO or a president to be like, oh yeah, no problem. Like, your husband can travel with you. At that time, he was my boyfriend. That sounds even worse.
It does.
And so you're like, how do you convince someone that it's going to be worth it to maybe make this exception? And then once they make this exception, how do they stop making the exception? And so I battled uphill for like 3 years. I paid all of his expenses, which was obviously pretty tough. I was having kind of inconsistent results, I would say. And so we were kind of like hovering along the green and red line of finance, but lucky enough to have some really great sponsors that supported me through that. And then I think when I had my first breakthrough year, and I think it was my first time being top 7 World Cup start list at the end of the year in slalom, the ski team kind of was like, oh, he's really not going anywhere. So they decided to hire him on as a technician, and they kind of split that role with Rosignol. So he's really a Rosignol service, like ski service.
Yes. But
he's paid throughout the US, or he's like paid via the US ski team. So he's employed by the US ski team.
And a former racer.
Yeah.
Is that one of the key elements to the success? I mean, for those non-skiers that are tuning in, the equipment is like the car in Formula One or Indy. Get it right and you know you're in the hunt. Get it wrong, probably more so in ski racing than any other. It can be a disaster. That racing pedigree from Ryan, do you think that is one of the key elements to success?
I think that he knows the ins and out of the sport just as well as anybody else and competed at an extremely high level. I think that gives him definitely like a leg up on the competition. I think he also has an incredible eye. He does a lot of coaching out there as well. He's not my coach and I try to keep it at bay, but obviously technicians have great eyes as well. So he spends a lot of time in like, when I'm in a really big rut, he's probably the only person that can get me out of it and like get me out of my own head and be like, you're a good skier, but you're kind of being a bit ridiculous right now.
And so the final question, how do you manage it to keep that balance? And I'm sure there's a lot of skiers and people in general interested to hear your answer. How do you keep that balance between love, work, and performance?
Oh man. I don't think there's a perfect combination or a perfect recipe of any sort. I think something important for us is always finding time to detach from the sport as just like a couple. So even if it's just getting home at night after skiing, making a meal together and then like watching some Netflix, or if it's like going on a mini vacation without the entire team around, just to like remind us that we're actually a married couple too. I think there has been a lot of trial and error. There's been things that have really worked really well and things that haven't. And so I think like setting the boundaries of what each person wants to do and doesn't want to do is really important for our relationship.
That's a wonderful answer. Let's talk about the things that you use to wind down. You're a whitewater raft guide, you're a gardener, anything to get away from the pressure, the rigors of World Cup competition. How important are those pastimes to you?
I think just like the outdoors is what makes me really happy. In the summer, I am not rafting anymore. Obviously, I've had a lot of shoulder injuries, and that's kind of off the table. Ryan and I bought a house this summer, and so this year's summer was spent packing and moving and unpacking and fixing up little things, hunting for furniture to furnish a house. But at the same time, we try to spend as much time as possible outdoors. So if it's gardening, hiking, golfing, you'll usually find Ryan and I outside for at least like 4 to 5+ hours a day.
But my little mole tells me that you're also known for being an amazing baker. So what's your favorite meal? And now you've got that lovely house. What's your favorite meal to bake at home? And what's the favorite meal when you're on the road?
Ooh, those are great questions. I do love to bake. My teammates and my coaches will say that that is true. Meal, I don't know, but I have a wicked chocolate chip cookie recipe. And if you're European, I don't think you've been enlightened by American chocolate chip cookies quite the same as Americans. But baking, don't do like a lot of baking meals. I think Ryan and I just like to cook a lot of fresh things out of the garden. So we try to keep it as fresh and local as we can when we're at home. And on the road, I feel like we definitely have some like staple meals. I don't know, last night we had like beef and broccoli, like Asian food. We do a lot of pad thai, maybe some bolognese. Ryan is oftentimes a better cook than I am. I can bake and he can cook.
Wow. I can hear all the people sending their emails in. Where do we get the chocolate chip cookies? Get me on the list. Sign me up.
I'll bring a batch
Sign
somewhere.
Me up. Are there any small rituals or routines that you go through to keep you grounded or get you better prepared to go to work on the mountain?
No, I feel like I'm pretty I'm not superstitious. I think the only thing I feel superstitious about on race day is what necky I'm wearing, which is like so insane. I think as soon as you have like a bad race in a necky, then it's just done for. You can't really ever wear it again. I think just like winding down, usually Ryan and I will watch some like nature film with like David Attenborough like narrating. It puts you right to sleep. It's perfect.
And let's move on from there. So what keeps driving you? Is it all about results or is there something deeper in there?
I think there's something deeper than just the results. I think there's a lot of passion that goes into the sport. And for me, if I don't love something, I'm not going to keep doing it. And for some reason, every spring when I'm like, am I going to keep doing this? And I'm like, yeah, you still love it. And so I'm curious when that like feeling's going to fade or if it's ever going to fade. But I feel lucky to have, I'm going to talk about Fede again. Fede in front of me, she's 35, right? And still breaking this mold of how old you can be winning and how you can still be finding the peak of your athleticism and your peak form as you move forward and like get older. I don't think Fede is old by any means, but people probably do say that. And so I think to have someone like that coming back and showing you that you don't have to be 28, 29, 30. You can be 35 and still be an absolute superstar.
No, I think I totally agree. And I'm really pleased that it's out there and we're seeing it more and more. And from a journalist perspective, it's healthy for the sport. Last question before we have a bit of fun to close it out.
Okay.
We got to talk about the Olympics. It'll be your second Winter Olympic Games. You had another dreaded fourth in Beijing. It was in the team event in 2022. What are you going to do differently at the Milan Cortina Winter Games? What's the game plan? And what's top of the shopping list?
I think qualifying is the first thing top of the shopping list. If you have looked at the roster of American ski races that are starting in Solden this year alone is pretty impressive. We have a lot of girls in giant slalom that are extremely talented. So I don't think anything is guaranteed. And so I think the first bucket list item would be to qualify. The second bucket list would be to set myself in the right direction from Solden on and just like kind of set the tempo and make sure you're entering that block of ski racing with the most beneficial prep and race results and confidence so that you have this platform to succeed off of.
And medal in Saalbach, we've already discussed. Third in Kronplatz, World Cup Giant Slalom, we've already discussed. If you're following that same plan, a lot of people will start to follow Paula Moltzan as a medalist. Do you think that's possible? Do you see that you have the capabilities, skills, strength and focus to put in that big result on that one, well, for you, 2 days, I'm hoping, giant slalom and slalom?
I think that's a big question to ask. I don't think anybody has any idea of what everyone's ability is this year. I think Solden always sets this tone, and so maybe I'll have a better idea post Solden and Levy, but I think with like how I'm feeling, I think it's not out of the question. Do I think it's guaranteed? Absolutely not.
Okay, let's move on to rapid fire. Whew, these are tough. Now, these aren't from me. These are from people who want to ask you questions.
No goody.
Fans, maybe some good, some bad. I think that this first one's pretty easy. Rapid fire, as quick as you can,
Okay.
as fast as we can go.
Okay.
Don't think about it. Just come with whatever goes into your mind.
Okay.
Here we go. Buck Hill or Killington?
Buck Hill.
Easy. Powder day or perfect race course?
Perfect race course.
Morning coffee or post-race beer?
Oh, coffee.
Garden or gym?
Garden?
Oh, that's a great one. First thing you do after a race?
Change. Get out of ski clothes. And yeah, eat some food I usually haven't eaten all day.
Best roommate you've ever had?
My husband.
Hey, that's the perfect answer. Funniest person on the US team?
AJ Guinness. Or, not, sorry, AJ Hurt. Sorry, that was my bad. If you know her, you know her.
One thing fans would be surprised to know about you?
I'm relatively handy. I can fix a lot of things. I'm very good at electrical work.
That is brilliant. What vegetables are you most proud of growing?
Tomatoes. They're really, really finicky.
Yeah, tricky. Which race would you love to win the most?
Killington.
I'd love to see that as well. I think that would make me cry. What's your pump-up song before the start?
I don't do pump-up songs, but I like probably listening to anything Noah Khan.
Lovely. Ted Lickety or Bodie Miller?
Ted.
Julie Mancuso or Peekaboo Street?
Julia.
Who's the biggest prankster on the team?
Elizabeth Bocock. She's young.
I think this is for some of the people in this room. Best post-race party you've ever had?
After World Champs, it was pretty awesome.
That's fantastic. And here's a tricky one. More stressful, Olympic start gate or rafting with tourists?
Oh, rafting with tourists. Too much socializing happening.
And a final question in our rapid fire. If you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Slow down.
That's wonderful words. Paula, thank you for being with us. Your honesty, kindness, and your energy we can all see and hear here. Your story reminds us that there's no single path to success, that sometimes stepping off the main road is exactly how you can find your own. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to Alpine Pulse Unplugged, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Fist TV, and all major platforms. Paula, have a fantastic season. And I think my tip for a win this tour is on the cards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alpine Pulse is an official podcast of the FIS, produced by Maniac Studios.